In the old days, before clocks ruled time, before laws were written on paper instead of carved into memory, there was a land where tradition was stronger than fear, and silence was considered obedience. This was Yoruba land. A land of kings, ancestors, and unbroken customs. And in this land, every king ruled with a shadow. That shadow was a man. Living. Breathing. Laughing. Yet already promised to death. They called him Ababaku. While the king lived, the Ababaku lived like royalty. He walked through palace gates without kneeling. He ate from bowls reserved for power. He wore fine cloth, coral beads, and carried himself with importance. People envied him. They saw the privilege. But they never spoke of the price. Because everyone knew. When the king died, the Ababaku would follow. Not tomorrow. Not someday. But immediately. Buried alive beside the king. So that the ruler would not walk alone into the afterlife. This was not cruelty, they said. It was honor. It was duty. It was tradition. And tradition, in those days, was never questioned. Then one season, the drums changed their rhythm. The king died. The palace wailed. Women beat their chests. Messengers ran through the land. Rituals began. 2 graves were dug into the red earth. One wide and decorated for the king. One narrow, waiting. And somewhere inside the palace walls, the Ababaku sat alone. For the first time in his life, he was not surrounded by laughter or privilege. He was surrounded by a question. A question he had never been allowed to ask. Must I die? Because another man has died? That night, while the land mourned its king, the Ababaku chose something forbidden. He chose himself. He ran. Not loudly. Not proudly. He ran like a man chasing breath. Like a man trying to outrun a destiny written before his birth. Into the forest he disappeared. Leaving behind centuries of obedience. But tradition does not sleep. When dawn came and the Ababaku was nowhere to be found, panic rippled through the palace. The elders gathered. Faces hidden behind masks. Voices lowered into incantations. Cowries were cast. Drums spoke to the unseen. Ancestors were called. And the ancestors answered. The forest gave him back. He was dragged out, not as a companion of the king, but as a defiant man. And because he had dared to refuse his fate, the law changed its tone. He would not be buried alive. Instead, he was beheaded. No songs. No honor. No royal farewell. His blood touched the sacred earth. And for a moment, time stood still. Something broke that day. Not the man. But the people. There was no celebration. No praise for tradition. Only silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Mothers pulled their sons closer. Elders avoided one another's eyes. And whispers began to rise like smoke. If loyalty demands death, is it still loyalty? If tradition feeds on the living, is it still sacred? The execution meant to preserve the old ways. Did something no rebellion ever had. It exposed them. And slowly, quietly, the Ababaku tradition died. No more men were chosen to follow kings into graves. No more shadows were born with coffins waiting for them. One man's refusal, paid for with his life, became the final sacrifice. Yet the story does not rest. Because even now, beneath the Baobab trees, his question still echoes. Was the Ababaku a coward? Or the bravest man the kingdom ever knew? And if you were born into a fate you did not choose, If your loyalty demanded your life. Tell me. Would you stay? Or would you run?